down. So angels. Who made the angels?
Allah.
Yeah, so first sentence, Allah made the angels. They are His special servants. Can the angels disobey Allah?
No.
No.
No. So that's one key difference between humans and angels. So if I ask you, list two differences between humans and angels, what can you say?
We have free will.
Okay, one can disobey Allah. We can disobey Allah and angels can't. What's the other key difference?
Oh, I know.
Tia?
Because we have the power not to obey Allah and the power to, if we do obey Allah and always do our sunnah, then we're higher rank than angels because they aren't allowed to disobey Allah.
Okay, well done. So that's an explanation of the free will. So if we choose to obey Allah, despite having the ability to disobey Allah, we actually become better than angels. So, but that still falls under the first difference, that they can't disobey Allah and we can. The other main difference is
Angels are made out of light.
yes, obviously, yeah, that's a key difference. Yeah, that's another key difference. So that comes on to the next sentence. They are made out of nur, light. You need to remember this word. Light in Arabic is nur. It's a key word that comes all the time in the Quran, in the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. So the key word nur, light. Can we see angels?
No.
No, we cannot see them, obviously. Do angels have gender, male and female?
Mm-mm.
No. Do people have genders?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, despite what they might tell you in school today. People have genders, yeah? The people are going crazy today, some people. Okay, so the angels don't have genders. There's no such thing as male or female angels. It's just humans, we have genders. So we mentioned it before. Can they disobey Allah?
No.
No. So some angels, they spend the entire life in ruku. Some angels, they spend the entire life in sujood. So imagine, they're existing for millions of years and they're in that same position. And they don't move from that position. So Allah has specifically created that type of angel just to do ruku. Allah has created another type of angel just to do sujood. Allah has created a type of angel to hold up His throne. So that's all they do for the entire life. They don't do anything else. So different angels have different jobs and they just do their job for the entire life. And they don't make any mistakes. So angels can't make mistakes. And they can't disobey Allah. So if Allah tells them to do that, they won't say, no, I won't do it. They'll have to do it. Does that make sense? Whereas if Allah tells us to do something, can we say no?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. If Allah tells us to pray salah, can we say I don't want to pray salah?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. We'll be bad people for doing it, but we can. So the book says they always obey Allah and they do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered them to do. Angels never disobey Allah. They are not like humans. How many angels are there?
We don't know.
5?
No.
I said
Billions and billions.
Infinity.
not infinity.
It's endless.
There's so many we can't count. That would be a good answer. There's so many we can't count. So the book says they are countless in number. We don't know their exact number. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. How many famous angels are there, Ari?
5. 4.
Yes, 4. What's the main angel called?
Jibreel.
Jibra'il.
Oh, Jibreel.
Ari, do you remember his job
To send messages.
on Instagram?
No.
On what? To who? Yeah, to all the prophets. So Jibra'il was the main angel, and his job was to send revelation to the prophets. So he was the messenger angel. So every time Allah would choose a prophet, Allah would send Jibra'il with news, with information, with things to tell the people, and he'd go and tell that to the prophet, and the prophet would tell the people. Does that make sense? So even with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jibra'il would come and teach the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad. And every Ramadan, Jibra'il would read the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, and the Prophet Muhammad would actually read the Quran back to Jibra'il. And many times he'd bring the revelation and give it to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How big was he? Tiny?
No, he was very big. One of his wings was large enough to cover one half of the earth. And he was made that large so that Shaitan couldn't overpower him.
Yes, that's one wisdom behind being so powerful. And how many wings did he have?
Thousands.
4.
Hundreds.
Anyone remember? I said a number.
7.
So many we can't count.
600.
No.
600 wings. And 2 wings would cover the entire earth. So imagine how large and powerful Jibra'il would be. So he's the largest and most powerful angel. Okay, that's Jibra'il. Niha, can you tell me another angel? Can't think of one. Do you know?
And no.
One of them starts with an M.
That's true.
And one starts with an I.
Two of them starts with an M.
M.
Yeah, Mikael. So that's the second one actually. So Jibra'il is the first one. Mikael is the second one. Do you remember his job?
Is that the weather one?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's his job?
He controls the weather.
He controls the weather. So he controls the climate, the weather. Allah gives him different tasks and jobs to do around the world.
The one beginning with I is the E.
Yeah. Okay, the angel of death is actually called Malakul Maut.
That's
Some
the
people
last
call him
one.
Israel, but his proper name is Malakul Maut. Ari, what's his job? Malakul Maut?
To rip souls out of people.
Yes, to rip souls out of people. Okay, so Jibra'il was the second one.
Malakul Maut.
That's the third one. Weather.
Mikael.
Yeah, he's the weatherman, isn't he? So Jibra'il, the messenger. Mikael, the weatherman. And Malakul Maut,
Angel of death.
And
what's his job?
Angel of death.
yeah,
Angel
and
of death.
Allah has a list of everyone's names when they will die.
Yeah, so he has a list, and Malakul Maut just goes from person to person whenever the time's up and just takes their souls, one at a time. It's a very interesting job. Yeah? And the last one, anyone know what it's called? What's his job? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so his name is Israfil. Israfil. And his job is to blow the trumpet.
Doesn't he blow it twice?
Yeah. So Allah will command Israfil to blow the trumpet, and once he does that, the entire world will be destroyed. Everything that exists apart from Allah will be destroyed. And then Allah will tell him to blow a trumpet the second time, and everything else will be brought back to life. And the day of judgment will start. So right now, Israfil is actually there waiting with a trumpet on his lips. And his gaze is towards Allah. And he is waiting for the command to come from Allah to tell him to blow the trumpet. So it's very close when Israfil will actually blow the trumpet. So that's his job. So 4 main angels. Number 1, tell me them.
Jibril.
Number 2,
Mikael.
number 3,
Malakul Maut.
number 4,
Israfil.
Israfil. Okay, I'm going to say an angel. I want you to say its job. Ari, Malakul Maut.
To rip souls out of people.
Yes. Mikael.
The weatherman.
Jibra'il.
Used to give messages to the prophets.
Israfil.
To blow the trumpet. On the day of judgment.
Yeah, to destroy everything. Malakul Maut.
To rip souls out of people.
Jibra'il.
To send messages to the prophet.
Yeah, so everyone's understood the main angels, the 4 main angels. And we understood what they've made out of. We've understood the difference between humans and angels. Okay, next page. Okay, just quickly, what we'll do, why don't you can read them. Just a quick revision. So very quickly. So Jibra'il.
Jibril. He is the best of all the angels and the leader of the other angels. He brought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's orders, books, and messages to the prophets. He was sent down with verses from the Holy Quran to our beloved messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was also sent to help the prophets against their enemies.
Okay, that's a very important one. I actually forgot about this. He was sent to help the prophets with their enemies. So in the Battle of Badr, for example, there's a battle that took place between the Prophet ﷺ, the Muslims and the non-Muslims. Allah actually sent angels to help them. And Jibra'il was the head of that. So angels would come and they'd assist the Muslims even in battles. So that's something I forgot about. Okay, next one, Mikael. Yeah, just read. Just gonna go through this quickly.
He carries out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's orders in the climate and weather.
Malakul Maut.
He is known as the angel of death. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders him, he takes away life.
Can anyone change the time of death?
No.
No. So whenever we're going to die, it's already been written before we're even born. Israfil.
He will blow the trumpet on the day of judgment. The sound will destroy everything. Then he shall blow it once again when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands him to. This will cause everything to come to life.
Yeah, so how many times does he blow the trumpet?
Twice.
Twice. Okay, next page. Okay, now these are two new angels that we haven't covered before. And they're not part of the four, but they're also very famous angels. First one is Kiraman Katibin. Do you know, anyone know what that is apart from Anik? Kiraman Katibin. Okay, Anik, can you read it?
These are titles of the angels that accompany a human being. Their duty is to write down the good and bad deeds a person has done.
Yeah, so Kiraman Katibin literally means the honored scribes. The honorable scribes. Scribes are the people that write, yeah? So every person has angels with them, writing all their good deeds and writing all their bad deeds. So there's angels near right shoulder, there's angels near left shoulder. You guys knew that before? Yeah. So all the good deeds that you will ever do in your life will be written by one angel. So if you've done something good, you prayed salah, you read the Quran, you helped someone, you told the truth. Let's say there's rubbish on the floor and you just picked it up and you threw it in the bin to make Allah happy. Any small deed that you've ever done which is good will be written by one angel in the book. And similarly, any bad deed that you've ever done in your life will be written down by one of the angels. And then on the day of judgment, what will happen is all of our books will be collected and every person will be given their books. So these are the books. So every day, so you have to imagine yourself, you guys are the authors of your books. What you write in your books is completely up to you. And on the day of judgment, Allah will actually Allah will make an announcement. Allah mentioned in the Quran, it says, "Iqra kitabak kafa bi nafsika al-yawma alayka hasiba." Allah will tell everyone, read your own book. You are enough to judge yourselves, whether you deserve to go to Jannah, whether you deserve to go to Jahannam, to the heaven or hell. Because at that point, we're going to have our books in front of us, isn't it? And we're not going to be able to make things up. No, I done this, I done that, I didn't do this. Because everything's going to be there. And Allah will just tell us, judge yourself. And you decide where you're supposed to go. So Allah wouldn't even need to judge us. So, He will, but before He even judges us, we'll know where we're going to go. Because we're going to have our books in front of us. And we're not going to make things up. Yeah, and then after that, Allah will weigh all our good deeds. But we're going to know where we're going to end up anyway. So that's the job of these angels. So you have to remember that name, Kiraman Katibin. So they're the scribes that write down everyone's good deeds and bad deeds. And another thing is about the good deeds. Whenever we have a good intention to do something, Allah tells the angels to write that deed down, even though I haven't done it yet. So let's say I have an intention of giving money to charity. Yeah, I want to help the poor people. So I take out money from my bag and I put it aside, let's say. I haven't even given it yet. Just with that intention of doing good deed, I get one reward for having an intention of doing a good deed. Does that make sense? And then once I do the good deed, let's say I give it in charity, I'll get extra rewards for actually giving the money in charity. So that's how merciful Allah is. But when I want to do a bad deed, I think to myself, okay, I want to do a sin. Allah doesn't write anything down. Only when we're fully determined to do a bad deed and we're just about to do it, then the sin is written down. Does that make sense? And even when we do a bad deed, actually, Allah tells the angels not to write it down yet. So let's say we've done a bad deed. Allah actually tells the angels, don't write it down. Wait for that person to ask Allah for forgiveness. And Allah gives that person time. Allah gives that person time. Allah says, okay, that person, he might ask me for forgiveness, so don't write it down yet. When that person, he doesn't ask Allah for forgiveness, then the bad deed is written down. Then this person has got one sin for doing this bad deed. Does that make sense? See how merciful Allah is. As soon as we even want to do a good deed, Allah writes it down. But when we want to do a bad deed, Allah doesn't write it down yet. Allah gives us time to ask Allah for forgiveness. Only when we don't, then a bad deed is written down. That's the first point. Another point is, whenever we do a good deed, do you know how many times a good deed is multiplied by? Any good deed that we do is times by 10. Any good deed that we do, Allah multiplies the rewards by 10. And any bad deed that we do, we just get that one bad deed written down. Does that make sense? So Allah is just trying to find ways and ways to make us go Jannah. Because Allah doesn't want to punish us. Would Allah get anything by punishing us? No. And we're the creation of Allah. Allah created us because He wanted to be merciful to us. So Allah doesn't want to punish us, but sometimes we're not so clever, and Allah has to punish us because we do so many bad things. So the two things that we need to, important things that we should remember about Kiram and Katibin and how the writing works. Next one is Munkar and Nakir. Anyone heard of them before?
No.
Okay, Anna, can you read it?
These are the names of the two angels that question a person in the grave.
Yes, as soon as a person passes away, our souls are taken out of our body, isn't it? And then our body, people bathe it, then they cover it in a cloth, and then they bury it, isn't it? And once we go to the grave, the soul is also put in a grave. And then once the soul is there, and everyone has left us, they've buried us and they've walked away, the two angels, Munkar and Nakir, they come to the grave. And then the soul, there's a slight connection between the soul and the body. But main thing is the soul. Then the Munkar and Nakir asks our soul these three questions. Do you know what these questions are, Niha?
Is it who is your God?
Yeah.
Who is your messenger? Who's his messenger?
Yeah.
And I don't know the other one.
What is your religion?
What is your religion?
So Munkar and Nakir, as soon as we passed away, Munkar and Nakir, and everyone's left us in the grave, Munkar and Nakir come. And they ask us three questions. Every single human being that has ever lived in this world will have to answer these three questions. First question will be, Mar Rabbuk, who is your Lord? Second question, Ma Dinuk, what is your religion? Third question is a picture of the Prophet Muhammad will be brought, and the person will be asked, who is this man? And if you followed him, and if you listen to his teachings, then you'll be able to recognize him. And you'll say straight away, he's the Prophet Muhammad. So three questions. What's the first one? Who is?
Your Lord.
What is?
Your religion.
And who is? Yeah. So three questions will be asked. Everyone should remember these questions. Now these questions, they seem easy, isn't it? I think we've had this discussion before. They seem easy, but on that day, sometimes when you have something in the back of your mind, something very simple, you just can't think of it right now. Does that make sense? But it's in the back of the mind. Sometimes it's something so simple, but it's in the back, you just can't recall it. In the grave, that which is in our hearts, that's what's going to come out. Okay? Not what's in our minds and not what's in our tongue. So who is your Lord? That's very easy, isn't it? What's the answer? Allah. It's very easy. But we'll only be able to say Allah if it's in our hearts. If we worshipped Allah our entire life and we obeyed Allah's commandments, only then we'll be able to say Allah is our Lord. But if we haven't worshipped Allah and we didn't listen to Him, we're not going to be able to say it. It's going to be like something that's in the back of your minds. You just can't remember right now. Does that make sense? And same, what is your religion? If we followed our religion, practiced according to what Allah has told us to do, stayed away from those things which Allah has told us to stay away from, then we'll actually be able to answer, my religion is Islam. Or else if we haven't, then we won't be able to answer. And likewise, the third question, who is this person, i.e. the Prophet Muhammad? If we followed his practices, followed all the sunnahs of the Prophet Muhammad, then we'll be able to recognize him. Or else we won't be able to recognize him.
We haven't seen him.
Yeah, so it depends what's in our heart. If our love for the Prophet is very strong, and we've been following him our entire life, then we'll recognize him straight away. But if we haven't followed him, and we don't love the Prophet Muhammad, then we won't be able to recognize him. Does that make sense? Okay, so we covered two new angels, Kiram and Katibin, and Munkar and Nakir. Ari, what was Kiram and Katibin's job? What did they do? Do you remember? Okay, Ari, Tia?
they wrote down all of your good deeds and bad deeds.
Yeah.
So one of your right shoulder wrote down your good deeds, and then one of your left shoulder wrote down your bad deeds. And every time you do a good deed, it will be times 10.
Yeah.
Rewards.
Yeah, sorry, do you remember now? What's Kiraman Katibin's job?
To write your good deeds and bad deeds.
Yeah, well done. Okay, so that's Kiraman Katibin. And what's Munkar and Nakir's job?
They question a person in the grave.
Yeah, so these are beliefs that all Muslims have to have. We have to believe in Munkar and Nakir, we have to believe in Kiram and Katibin, we have to believe in the 4 main angels and all the angels. Yeah, because we're learning about Aqid, isn't it? Next page. We've got 1 page left. Okay, we've got 1 more page of the angels. Okay, Ari, you can read that. I think it's for small babies. Okay, so this is last thing about the angels. Let's see what it says. I've never read this. Okay, you can start.
The creation made from spiritual light, such creation doing only what is right. Duties appointed for each and all, whether big or small. The head of all the trusty was Jibreel, the Holy Quran. He has come to reveal owner of wings, 600 in number.
Yeah, okay, that's what it says. 600 wings. Yeah, continue.
Mighty in strength, mighty in power.
Yeah.
An angel appointed for rain and thunder, Mikael his laying close to Allah. The first was Jibreel to bow to Adam, to accompany the Prophet in the night of
Ascension.
If you feel that hour is near, the trumpet will be blown when ordered by Allah. The owner of the throne, the remover of souls, angel of death, Israel by name, ends the last breath appointed by Allah to remove the soul from the body, to end every laughter, to separate every family.
Do you want to read the last one?
Okay. 19 angels mentioned on the boundary of the fire. Malik, the head, known as the gatekeeper. Kiraman Katibin, the recorders of actions. They know what you do, they know what you say. There are many more angels Allah has created, all praising and glorifying in the Quran. This is stated.
Okay, so there's a few things that weren't mentioned before that was written here. Okay, we mentioned Mikael. So the first with Jibreel to bow to Adam. So you know the angels when they bow to Adam? So Jibreel must have been there, and it's saying Mikael was there as well, one of the first ones to bow. And he said to accompany the Prophet in the night of ascension. Anyone know what that means?
And isn't it when I think Muhammad sallallahu isn't it when he went up to Allah and then Allah said to tell everyone to pray 50 times a day, and he went down. Each prophet told him to shorten it until it got down to 5.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so you know when Allah revealed the command to pray Salah, Allah made the Prophet ﷺ actually go to the heavens. So Jibreel and Mikael, they came down to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ went with them 2 angels, and then they took him up, and then Jibreel took him the furthest until Jibreel couldn't even go any further, and Jibreel actually told the Prophet Muhammad that if I go any further, all my entire body would die and be burnt. So only the Prophet ﷺ could actually go any further. Well, Jibreel could not go any further. So 2 angels went with him that day, with Jibreel and Mikael. So that's another information that was mentioned. Again, then another thing that was mentioned was 19 angels mentioned on the boundary of the fire. What's that talking about?
Is it 19 angels that are protecting or guarding Jahannam?
Yeah, it's talking about Jahannam. So 19 angels. But then within that, there's actually thousands and thousands and thousands of angels guarding Jahannam. And Malik is the head. Malik is the head of Jahannam. And he's an angel that never smiles. He's never smiled. And this angel doesn't have any mercy. You know, sometimes when you see someone suffering and you care for that person, Malik doesn't have that. Allah has created him not to care. about anything or anyone. He has no mercy, and he doesn't smile. And he's the head of Jahannam. He's the gatekeeper. And all the angels, their job is to mainly what? Obey Allah and worship Allah and praise Allah, glorify Allah. So these are very quick, important lessons on our aqeedah and our beliefs as Muslims regarding angels. Anyone have any questions?
Mm.